So you've come here because you want to know how to build a website, and that is what we're going to teach you. Using the Weebly platform is very easy. We've got a few workarounds for a few bits and pieces where it's limited, which we include in the course, and also there are just a simple, it's basically an easy way of reducing your learning time with the platform, because whilst it's simple, everything is simple once you know how to use it. But before we go into actually building the website and planning the website and then building the website, two things which should be done in that order, we're going to look at SEO, search engine optimization. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert in SEO, but I know enough to know that it's important. And so I'm going to talk you through here where I think you should start when building your website. Now, the most important thing to remember is that the website's only ever any good if people get to it, read it, use it. And there are millions of websites all over the world, and some of them are dormant and some of them get very little traffic. Now, you can pay to advertise your website through Google and various other search engines, and you will then be guaranteed some visits. However, are you getting the quality that you want, and do you want to pay? So if you have a website which is purely a brochure website and all you're doing is directing people to it once they make an inquiry, then yeah, okay, that's fine. But wouldn't it be great if that website also generated interest, generated leads? It's a wasted opportunity when it's a window on the world. So what I would suggest is that you give some serious thought to search engine optimization. I'm going to talk you through in this video what we do on the website, and you can refer to this when building the website. I suggest you do the SEO, the actual installing of all the SEO at the end of the process, but you should bear in mind search engine optimization from the very start, including the name of your domain, the title of your website, what the website's going to contain in terms of copyright and copywritten text. The whole thing should be considered from the SEO perspective. In fact, you might even think about whether or not your business, if it's based on a website, is viable once you've looked at the SEO. So you can get paid for traffic, but you can also get non-paid for traffic, people just searching in Google or Bing or any of the other search engines. And in an ideal world, you would get free inquiries coming through those channels. If you ever look at an SEO, at a search engine page, you'll see that the top few links are always adverts, and that's what people are paying for. But under that, there are organic searches where people have just made a search and a particular website has been considered by the search engine to be so good and so pertinent to that search that they have come up free underneath the paid for ads on the first page of Google, which is exactly where you want to be, and it's very difficult to get there. So how do you achieve that? Well, you need the Google search algorithms to identify in your website just why they think your website is the perfect answer to Joe Blogg's perfect question. How do we work that out? Well, first of all, we've got to know what Joe or Joanne Blogs is actually looking for when it pertains to what you do. So I would suggest doing a little bit of research. There are a variety of different places that you can go. Probably the easiest and cheapest is to go to Google themselves. So Google have, as part of their AdWords program, if you have a Google account and an AdWords account, you can look at their keywords plan and keywords ideas. It's a free resource which they offer, and it enables you to look at keywords and see how popular they are, how much they're searched for, both worldwide and in your country, and also how much it's likely that an advertiser would bid for that keyword, or a website operator would bid for that keyword to present their website in the advertised searches. So depending on what you're selling, that keyword and how popular it is and how big the market is and how lucrative the market is, that keyword could be anything from a few pence to a few pounds. So it's big business, and that's one reason why Google is such a big company. So let's have a think about this. If we go to, I'll put the link in the description on how you get there. You just need to open a Google Ads account. There are other bits and pieces of software, and most of them are premium software. So Google is free, which is why I'm suggesting it. Get to this page, and you can start with keywords or start with a website. So if you start with a website, which is existing, it will look at the website, and then it will tell you what keywords are most likely to be suitable for that website. We want to do it the other way around. We want to look at keywords and then pick up from that what keywords are useful to incorporate in our website. So let's assume that we are a water ski school. Okay, so I'm going to put water ski school. I'm going to put water ski. I'm going to put learn to water ski. And I'm going to put nearest water ski lake. So each one of those phrases is referred to as a key word. Okay, so a keyword is phrases. And you should be thinking about what would people type into a search if they were looking for what you're offering. So if you're a water ski school, I'm guessing people are going to type in something like that, aren't they? So let's start with that. And we're going to click on Get Results. Well, unsurprisingly, water ski here at the top, we're looking at 1,000 to 10,000 searches over 3 months. Competition is medium, which means there's not that many people competing for that particular keyword. Learn to water ski, on the other hand, fewer searches, but high competition. So people, you can imagine there's a lot of water ski schools advertising on Google, and therefore they're competing for a small market. Water skiing, medium competition, reasonable search volume. Barefoot water ski, so that is obviously a niche within water skiing. Smaller number, low competition because it's a niche. So because it's a niche, there's few people that are using that word. But that might be good, because if you do barefoot water ski teaching, you know there's very low competition for that particular keyword. And you can search through. There's pages and pages of these, and they will give you an idea of what is searched for and what might be of interest. So beginner water ski. Unsurprisingly, beginner water ski is high competition, low number of searches. So, but it's obviously high competition because people are trying to sell water ski lessons. So we can go through this, as you can see, various high competition things here. So brands of water ski, types of water ski are all quite high. So spend some time going through that and establish what it is that is most relevant to what you do. So if you're a water ski school, you'd be spending a lot of time on this, looking at what words you can use where there's low competition but high volume. Now the other thing is you can broaden your search. So it's also recommended up here: water ski lake, water skiing gear, boating, sporting goods, wakeboard, learn to wakeboard, and wake surf. So yeah, let's add those. So I've added that one. Let's have a go, see what happens now. And you can see wake surf and wakeboard, fairly popular and also high competition. So that would suggest, and I haven't water skied for very many years, but that would suggest that wakeboarding is now quite a popular activity and maybe even becoming more popular than water skiing, certainly in terms of people wanting to learn to do it. So when you have selected, what you then want to do, once you've got the keywords that are relevant to your business, so that you might also include in that your location. So if you've got a physical store, for instance, or a physical school, say you're in Bath, or you're on the coast, or you're in the Midlands, you might put a location in as well, because that would help people who are looking to water ski. They've obviously got to go there to water ski. They can't just do it online. So you could narrow down your search somewhat to maybe water ski in Cannock, for example, in the Midlands, where there are some freshwater lakes. And from that, you should be able to find out your most effective keywords, the keywords that are most popular and are being paid for, most people are paying for, but also the words that are sought a lot but are low volume in terms of people looking for them. So the niches, barefoot water ski would have been one of them. And what you want to define is probably between 4 and 6 key phrases that are as valid as you can find for your particular website, but are also popular or searched for a lot. So you want to establish you've got a market, basically. Once you've got those keywords, and spend some time on that to make sure you get the right keywords for your website and your business proposition, then you can look at building your website. Now, in terms of building your website, you're going to have done your keyword research, and then you're going to have on-page optimization and off-page optimization. So what are we talking about? Off-page optimization is largely to do with people sending traffic to you. So if, for example, the BBC did an article on you and they referred to you or linked to your website on water skiing, potentially off the BBC website, which is a high credibility website and it's a big website, you would find that if they are linking to your website to do with water skiing, it's going to give you a big boost. So that's one thing. It's a bit like word of mouth, but in terms of web traffic. So if you can get high credibility websites to backlink to you, or to your blogs, or to your store, then you're going to find that's really going to help your ranking. So that's off-page optimization. The other thing is to get people that you know in real life to recommend your website. Anything that drives traffic to your website, especially if it comes from competitors or colleagues in the industry, is going to help you. So the next thing is going to be on-page optimization. So on-page optimization is where we can incorporate into the building of our website. So first of all, when you get into the Weebly web builder, go to settings. And on settings, you're going to have general and then SEO. So general is, first of all, your site title. Now, I told you in other videos that it doesn't matter what goes in here at the moment. We just put anything in to start the ball rolling. But your site title is going to be your web address, isn't it? Whatever domain you use. If you were mywaterskischool.com, it might be mywaterskischool. Yeah. And then you might have a dash or a symbol of some sort to separate, and then have a short description of what the school actually is. So if it's the best water ski school in Cannock, or the best water ski school for beginners in Cannock, or something like that, which would be incorporating basically incorporating your business sales points, but also would make sense to people reading it because it's going to be visible to them in the top bar, but also would be at least one of your keywords that you're going to incorporate into your website. Okay, so we're trying to blend this through the entire website. The next thing we're going to have is category. So again, that could be relevant. And then the next thing I mentioned before is to make sure that our SSL, our site is secure. That's particularly important if you're taking any sort of information off people, especially credit card information through a checkout. So it must be SSL, which means that your website will start with HTTPS rather than HTTP. And if you've been to an HTTP website recently on Google in Chrome, you'll notice that they warn you that the site is not secure. So that also puts a lot of human beings off visiting, especially if they're not sure quite why they're being warned. So that can downrank you in Google as well. Then we need to look at SEO. So we have SEO for the site, and then we have SEO for the each page on the site. Then we have SEO for each blog on the blog page, and SEO for each product on the product page. And all of that SEO should be filled in optimally. That will help over time for Google and other search engines to identify your site and to drive traffic to it. So how do we add the SEO? Well, I would suggest that you lay out the site as you'd like it and decide what information you want on the site. And then once you've done that, you can think about laying out the text. And the text obviously needs to be thought about so that whatever text you're using, you're copywriting both to appeal and to sell, if necessary, to your customers, but also to incorporate as many keyword-rich phrases as possible. So you want to be mentioning water skiing, you want to be mentioning Cannock, you want to be mentioning lake, you want to be mentioning learn to water ski. All that sort of stuff would naturally be included in your website because you are, after all, trying to sell water skiing lessons. But you need to make sure you are specifically mentioning it and at the same time make it easy to read and engaging to read for your human visitors. So what do we do? First of all, site description. So this site description is going to be incorporating as many keywords as you can whilst looking normal. So it needs to be readable because it's going to come up on a Google search and people are going to read it. So if people are going to read it, it must read properly. There's no point just being a scattering of phrases. So that's in the site description. And then in the meta keywords, this is where you can be a little bit more scattergun. These keywords, which are less and less important these days with Google as it becomes more sophisticated, but these keywords will enable you to really throw those 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever 10 keywords in here so that you're not missing anything. So your learn to water ski, your barefoot water skiing, your water skiing in Cannock, best water ski lake in Cannock, water skiing for beginners, whatever your research has thrown up is what you want to include in the meta keywords phrases, and you put them in as a phrase, then a comma, and then start with the next phrase and then a comma, and that's how you install them. Footer code. So footer code, header code. So this is where you might install things like your Google Analytics, which we'll talk about in another video, and also your Google Webmaster Tools, which are verification that this is your website and the website is linked to maybe other social media, etc. So the Google Analytics and Google Webmaster codes are important and should be embedded so that you can then check through Google Analytics whether or not your keywords are working and whether or not your site is becoming more popular and being visited and for how long. So once you've done that, you also need to be bearing in mind 301 redirects. So I mentioned in other videos 301 redirects. If you have an old website and you're designing a new website, your old website might have 10 pages, and of those 10 pages, maybe one is called About Us. Maybe on your new website, it's the same domain, which you move across, but it's now mywebsite.com/about me. That will mean that anybody that searches the About Us, has previously searched the About Us, all of that traffic, when it goes to your new page, it's going to find your domain and it's going to go for About Us and it won't find the page because it's now called About Me. And therefore, it will give a 404 error. The 404 error frustrates the person who's trying to find the details because they just get a broken link and therefore should frustrate you. But also it is registered by Google so that Google are looking at it and going, well, this page isn't working properly. The person who went to that link got a broken link. And so that's not good for you either in your ranking. So 301 directs allow you to say, right, where anybody searches for mywebpage.com/about us, send them seamlessly to mywebpage.com/about me. And that way you won't get any broken links. So 301 direct is something you need to think about before you publish your website, especially if it's not a new website you're moving from an old platform. Okay, so that is your general SEO. Then we need to go to pages. And on pages, if you remember, we've got each page here, and when we click on it, we've got page name. So again, the page name is going to be read by a human. It's not going to be a long name because it's going in your menu, and it should be straightforward and simple. You are then going to have, in your SEO settings, page title. So this is what appears in the browser when people are searching for something and they get this page delivered to them. So if that is going to be visible to them, it can be longer, it can be a more detailed, it might be home, and then it might be dash the best water ski, or the name of your business, the best water ski lake in Cannock, or something like that. So it can incorporate one of your 4 to 6 keyword phrases. Then underneath you've got the permalink. So the permalink for the home page can't be changed, it's index. And that doesn't matter, that can't be changed. The page title can be, but not the permalink on home. Then you're going to have page description. So this again is read by the person who's looking through their Google searches. So this is the 2 or 3 sentences or paragraph that tells you what this page is all about. So this is, if you're talking about water ski hire on this page, you need to be throwing all of the keywords into your phraseology, but making it human readable. And it needs to be mentioning the fact that water ski hire, Cannock, lake, all of that sort of stuff. And then under that, we've got meta keywords. And meta keywords is where, again, you can just scatter in your top 4, 6, or 8 key phrases divided by a comma. And you try to specify the key phrases so that they meet the specific needs of that page. So if one is water ski hire, the keywords and meta keywords in that page might overlap, but they will also be different to water ski lessons because you're trying to sell 2 different things to your prospects. And then footer and header code. So that is for other information you might want to install, which we won't talk about here. So that is SEO, and that's why it's important. Don't just scatter in words, think clearly about it. And then on the page itself, when you are editing, so when you go to specific pages, make sure that on that page, every article has got, it's obviously going to be relevant to water skiing because it wouldn't be on your website if it wasn't. But make sure that anything you consider and everything that's copywritten and written down for you has been thought about to incorporate your keywords. So it should be incorporating your SEO, the meta words, the keywords that are in your front page of your site. All of that needs to be repeated and incorporated and expanded upon based around other keywords which you think are going to be relevant. Now, to some extent, this is organic because if you start talking about water skiing and water ski lessons, you are going to use the words that other people would use to talk about that particular topic. So don't get too hung up on it. But in your blogs, make sure that you are incorporating some of your special keywords. Also on your pages. And then when it comes to photographs, make sure that when you import a photograph, so here, for example, you'll remember from our other lessons, we've got the ability to, we can change the image, but also we can, under advanced, go to alt text and we can change the default and we can put in here a keyword. So if that was a photograph of somebody water skiing, slalom water skiing, you might put intermediate water skier slaloming at Cannock, or slaloming water skiing or slaloming at our lake. That goes in the alt text. In an ideal world, the name of the image, so whatever the image is called, normally you'd use a PNG file, so it might be picture.png, Ideally, that would be womanwaterskiing.png or something like that. And I mentioned as well to do with file name hygiene. It's important to do that anyway so that you can find the images, but also if you upload two images both called one PNG, the next time you upload another image called one PNG, it will override in Weebly the first one PNG, and you'll end up with an unrelated photograph going into a blog post about something completely different. So make sure that you give clear names, and ideally keyword related names that describe the photograph, which obviously is going to be relevant to your blog. So woman water skiing might be one. If you have another photograph of a woman water skiing, it's going to have to be something slightly different so that it doesn't overlap the other one. So it might be woman water skiing on lake. So you are going to be using both the name of the file and also the alt text to incorporate keywords into that, so that when the website is read by machines, they can see that all of this makes sense. Now, the other thing you might do is, if you have a footer on your website, which you will have if you have more than the basic plans, then in the footer you might have almost a secondary menu of links to the various pages, offers, and even blog posts that are in your website. And you can update that as you go. That's good too, because not only is that useful to people visiting the website, but also the web crawlers, when they visit your site, will look at all of the hyperlinks on your website. And if they link to content-rich, keyword-rich blogs, it might be best top 10 tips for the water ski beginner. And you might have that as a phrase at the bottom in your list of links in your footer, and that would go to a particular blog that you wrote on that subject. And then that blog would be full of useful information, and Google would look at that. And if that blog had also been referred to by the BBC as being a good place to go, and on top of that, lots of people had visited it, and on top of that, they hadn't visited and suddenly left again after 2 seconds because it wasn't what they wanted, you're really on the way to getting some good SEO for your website. So why does it matter whether people stay or not? Well, SEO nowadays looks at bounce rate, number of pages per visit, so the number of pages that the visitor jumps around before they leave, and also the average time spent on site. So if you make your website too complicated, you're going to end up with people getting lost and maybe getting tired of it. So don't go for too many pages. Try to keep your pages simple, informative, attractive, engaging. You don't need to have too many pages. You can always scroll down them, and you can also put anchor links in, which is something I'm going to do a video on as a bonus in this particular course. So you want people to arrive on your website. You want them to arrive, and when they arrive, not be disappointed. You want them to get engaged in the content you have on the website, so they spend time there. And if possible, once they've read the blog that they've arrived to read, you want them enticed to click another link to go to another part of your website to read more information that is of interest to them. So if you can incorporate all of that so that you're driving people organically to your website through carefully selected keywords which are embedded in your site, in your blog, in your text, and in all the alt text on your pictures, and they stay there and they enjoy the experience, and they go from new blog to another blog to another blog to a video, and they stay on your site and they stay there for a good period of time and they don't bounce away fast, you have got a productive, effective site which over time will become both valuable and an asset to your business. Okay, so there is an overview of keywords and SEO optimization. Now, it is not, as you may already have gathered, simple. That is a relatively simple overview that I've given you. But you shouldn't be ignoring it. You shouldn't leave those SEO boxes empty, and you shouldn't just throw anything into them. Do a little bit of research and then incorporate the same keywords or an overlap of the same keywords plus additional ones dependent on the page throughout your website, both in the general name of the website, its title, and also maybe through the meta keywords and through the description, and then in the text in the blog on each page and in your images. And if you upload any video via YouTube from your YouTube channel, then make sure that the descriptions in your YouTube, when you upload your video, you get a description underneath that you can fill in. Put 2 or 3 paragraphs in there relating to your whatever the subject or the topic was. And then also, because that is all SEO relative as well, and make sure your YouTube channel is linked to your website, and that your website through the social links is linked to your YouTube channel and also to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever social links you have. All of that together will help your website and your business. And the other last thing is that if you're a physical business, then make sure that you're on Google Maps and registered as a business on Google Maps, which both gives you access, or gives other people access to review you on Google, to find you on Google Maps, but also that will be incorporated within Google searches as well, and gives your business more credibility because you're a physical business that has been registered with Google. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that what you've seen here gives you some idea of how important it is to have SEO. And with that in mind, we can go into designing or planning and then designing the website using the short videos that I've incorporated in this course. Thanks very much.